Welcome back to Riding Bikes in San Diego. I'm just gonna, from the get-go, let you know that there's not gonna be any conflict in this video whatsoever. We just left the little market over on Park and Howard. We're coming down Florida here in this painted door zone bike lane, and we're gonna wait at the traffic light for a second. My normal route when I get groceries is to go straight here. I wouldn't mind being in that little bike box, but this driver decided to cover it. No big deal. If I go straight through that traffic light, there's no bike lane there. But look at this bus. You see how that bus is not in the bus bike lane? I thought that was kind of interesting. El Cajon Boulevard has this bus bike lane going from Park Boulevard down to about Fairmount. And I decide that rather than cross the street and go on a road with no bike lane at all, and because I know the bus just went by and it's unlikely another one's going to come by soon, I decide to just take this bus bike lane, which is, it's there for that reason. It's a nice wide road, and it's pretty pleasant to ride in as long as there isn't a bus barreling down on you. Just on a Sunday afternoon, riding along, I was thinking about how this road is designed so that there is a bus bike lane. So I was a little curious, why wouldn't the bus be driving in it? And this is not a critique of the bus driver. I could see a number of reasons why the bus driver wouldn't use this lane. For example, if they're in the middle lane instead of this lane, they don't have to negotiate with people leaving curb cuts or turning onto El Cajon, and they definitely don't have to contend with the folks who get into the lane at intersections so that they can make right turns. That saves them some time. Because it's mostly clear, because it's a bus bike lane, they can move freely in and out of that lane. I really thought that there was a chance I could have caught up to the bus, but it had gone already. It was a little distance ahead, and I'm riding a bike that has a bunch of groceries in it anyway. And on the one hand, I think it's a good thing that this road has enough room for the bus to be able to choose to be in that middle lane and keep the lane clear for other buses. In fairness, the bus that went by was the Rapid, so maybe there's a local that goes by, and it helps avoid conflict with that. I do wish that the bike lane was consistent, though. And I do wish that the pavement wasn't like what it is here. This is pretty god awful. But on the stretch we're on now, we passed Texas, and we're heading east. And there's a bus bike lane on the other side of the road from us right now. But if we were on the other side riding west, back at that last intersection, Texas, it ends from there. So if you go from Texas to Park Boulevard, you get no bike lane whatsoever. It just disappears. And I don't know if there's a good explanation for that. I don't know if it's one of these things where there was some construction happening when they put the bus bike lane in. I don't know if this is technically a pilot. So hopefully they can come on in here and make this safer and more robust, and all that. But I do wish it was consistent on El Cajon Boulevard. I mean, you have these 3 lanes in either direction. This used to be a highway back in the day. Historically, this is, I don't know, old 60 or 80 or something like that. And it's pretty wide. So anything they could do to narrow it, because I don't know if you notice on the landscape, but there are these tall buildings coming in. A lot of El Cajon Boulevard is getting developed. A lot of housing is going in. A lot of mixed-use commercial on the bottom, housing on top. And it'd be nice if people could easily get from one side of the street to the other when they're going around the neighborhood. And it's a great neighborhood. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the fast food restaurants we're coming up on are fantastic. But there is a taco shop on the other side of the street that is our regular spot. And there's a brewery up here that has some social things that we like to go to every so often. There's a Bomb with Empanada spot. There used to be a fantastic thrift store coming up here, but that was that recently moved out, but it's a giant warehouse space. Who knows what can go in there? But there's all these developments happening and all this stuff, and it's nice to be able to use this road and not worry too much. Although, this giant lane, there are drivers who need to cut over to make the right-hand turns, and again, not attacking them. This is not a critique. There's like that driver there who just got to have a parking spot and had to cut across. It's fairly low speed. It's fairly low pressure. There's a lot of times I'm riding on El Cajon Boulevard and it gets backed up, rush hour, things like that. And it's nice to have the space to be able to pass everyone. I see my buddy's bike sitting there on the side of the road, so I do pull over and just make sure that it's actually him riding it and that it wasn't taken or something like that, because bikes get stolen from time to time. So, but anyway, I just wanted to bring you along with me here, just because I noticed that bus was not in the bike lane, and it got me thinking, because we did spend time on University in a similar lane not too long ago, and it's interesting to consider these things. It's interesting to take a look at the designs that are possible when we have the room that we have. When a lot of this stuff was built, nobody was thinking about micromobility and convenience, but now we know that it's easier to ride a bike in a city than it is to drive. It's often faster, and again, I'm taking my sweet time. I got a whole basket full of groceries in front of me, so I'm gonna get home and get to making some food, and gonna drive less and ride a bike. Thanks.